rental prices, a shortage of affordable housing, and an influx of migrants seeking asylum at the US-Mexico border. According to data collected in January 2024, the total number of homeless people reached 772,000, which is approximately 18% higher than the previous year, a year that had already set a negative record, a record that was already quite troubling. Among them, more than 80,000 families with children were recorded, a number that increased by 39% compared to the figures for 2023. The main reasons cited for this situation are rising rental prices, the lack of affordable housing alternatives, and an influx of migrants. At the beginning of January, shelter systems in major cities such as New York, Denver, and Chicago became overwhelmed due to the large number of arriving refugees. In addition, the problem of homelessness has worsened over the past decade as a result of a significant increase in rental prices, which have risen 1.5 times faster than people's incomes. Despite the consistently high level of new housing construction, the demand for truly affordable apartments still remains largely unmet. Meanwhile, the number of homeless veterans has decreased by approximately 8% compared to 2023, and by more than 55% since 2010. By mid-September 2024, the total number of homeless people in the country had reached as many as 653,000 individuals. By that time, around 550,000 people were already living on the streets. The history of homelessness in America began long before the founding of the modern United States. The first colonies, the predecessors of the future great power, were ethically shaped precisely thanks to those who found themselves outside of society. In England, vagrancy was punished harshly, with imprisonment or being sent to penal labor. However, the New World opened up boundless horizons for such people. They could either work for the benefit of the British Crown or set out into uncharted lands. It is not known for certain how much this historical experience influenced the formation of American vagrancy culture. However, one thing is clear. Such people existed in North America from the very earliest stages of its settlement by Europeans. During the colonial era, the population was relatively small, especially in the Western territories where European presence was virtually non-existent. But after independence was achieved and the open-door policy was declared, the situation changed dramatically. American cities expanded rapidly, uninhabited territories became settled, and railroads were built, providing regular connections. People gained the opportunity to move freely across the country, often chasing dreams of wealth that flared up in the form of gold rushes. Many left their homes and set out in search of fortune, leaving all their possessions behind in the hope of starting a new life. However, not everyone was so lucky. Those who failed to get rich found themselves in a desperate situation. They didn't even have enough money to return home. This is how the first ghost towns appeared, inhabited by those who were left without shelter and without hope for a better future. These events were only the beginning of the massive wave of homelessness that swept across the country after the devastating Civil War of 1861 to 1865. During those years, 617,000 people died, more than the United States lost in all subsequent conflicts combined. If you multiply that number by 3, you get an approximate count of the wounded and disabled. It was a brutal time. There were no social programs, but there was more than enough mutual hatred. A man who lost the ability to work most often ended up on the street and soon died. After him, his family would end up there as well. The next major surge in homelessness occurred during the Great Depression of the 1930s. Epidemics of poverty, hunger, and homelessness swept across the country. Out of 122 million Americans, more than 2 million ended up on the streets. Some wandered across the country, while others built shantytowns, which were nicknamed Hoovervilles after then-President Herbert Hoover. His successor, Franklin Roosevelt, managed to stabilize the situation, and after the end of World War II, the United States became one of the world's leading powers. However, the problem of homelessness still remained a serious issue. In 1963, another event occurred that increased the number of homeless people. The Community Mental Health Act was passed, which changed the approaches to treating the mentally ill. Patients who had been undergoing long-term inpatient treatment were discharged from state institutions and transferred to specialized hostels. It was planned that they would be properly supervised, but funding for these programs turned out to be insufficient. As a result, the patients were unable to adapt to life in society and ended up on the streets. In the 1980s, the country faced yet another economic crisis. The Cold War had drained the state's resources, unemployment rates rose, and homelessness became a chronic issue. The affordable housing program was cut by a factor of 4, and millions of workers without their own homes lost the opportunity to purchase one, even on credit. Ronald Reagan signed the McKinney-Vento Act, thanks to which thousands of shelters, free meal programs, and other aid services opened across the country. However, the number of homeless people continued to grow, since the measures proposed addressed the symptoms of the problem, but not its causes. And finally, the mortgage crisis of 2008 led to tens of thousands of people being evicted from their homes. Entire neighborhoods and sometimes even whole cities became deserted. A prime example of this is Detroit, where the population shrank by almost 2/3. The unemployment rate exceeded 23%, and 1 in 3 residents fell below the poverty line. I have described these and other social phenomena in my Telegram channel, Unusual America, where I share the most incredible stories from life in the USA and important news updates. Check it out, read and subscribe.
I'm jumping in. Fresh! I am jumping in, I am jumping in, I am jumping in. So good. Feeling good in my skin. Feeling good in my skin. Yes!
The statistical picture of homelessness in the USA, despite its apparent accuracy, has many nuances and exceptions, making it similar to comparable data in other countries around the world. American statistics distinguish between various categories of homeless people, some of whom may not be included in official reports, which leads to obvious discrepancies. For example, in New York, thousands of children are regularly left without a roof over their heads, but they are not included in the overall statistics. Across the country, there are about 1 million such children. That is, roughly 1 in every 50 children faces the problem of homelessness. The reasons vary. Some run away from domestic violence, others from shelters. Some see a certain romance in it, or suffer from mental disorders. There are also temporary homeless people, those who end up on the street for a short period, no more than 3 times a year. Only starting from the 4th instance within 1 year are they officially classified as chronically homeless and included in the statistics. Therefore, a person who is temporarily staying with acquaintances or spending the night in parks or the subway is formally not considered completely homeless. In addition, there is a significant number of unregistered homeless people who avoid contact with the authorities, do not use shelter services, and are not included in official data. According to unofficial estimates, the actual number of homeless people may reach 3 million, which is about 1% of the total population of the United States. That is, 1 out of every 100 residents. Subtitles created by Dima Torzok. The main cause of homelessness is poverty. Many people in the United States earn less than $16,000 a year, which does not allow them to rent housing even in the area where they work, let alone buy their own home. The issue of social housing cannot keep up with the constantly growing demand, so not only antisocial individuals end up in shelters and hostels, but also quite ordinary people who have jobs. Among other common causes of homelessness are mental illnesses and drug addiction. The United States consumes nearly half of the world's supply of narcotic substances, and more than 30 million people in the country regularly use various types of drugs. Such widespread consumption, characteristic of American society, has existed for about half a century. This has a significant impact on people's mental health. Today, 52 million Americans are currently living with a variety of different forms of mental illness. Homelessness can be caused by a variety of reasons, including some quite unusual ones. In some cases, people become homeless because of their political or ideological beliefs, consciously choosing this way of life. Some people strive to completely avoid any and all contact with government institutions and firmly reject money, considering it a relic of capitalist society. Others join the urban survivalist movement, preparing for various emergencies and disasters. Still others find their place in the very poorest neighborhoods, which have come to be known as hobogemia. This name comes from the words hobo, meaning migrant worker, and bohemian.
من 50 سنة والCIB كان دايما موجود معاك. 50 سنة بنشتغل عشانك في صمت.
Such neighborhoods attract people seeking freedom from social norms and restrictions. Orphan children occupy a special place. According to surveys of mayors from troubled cities, about 20% of orphans leave their foster homes after reaching adulthood. In California, which is called the most homeless state, more than 46% of homeless people are under 21 years old, predominantly white Americans. At the same time, the poverty rate among black people is higher. It is likely that strong family ties, larger family sizes, and consequently more relatives who can provide support play a role here. If your social status is fine and you get into a car accident in America and don't know what to do next, where to turn for help, how to find a competent lawyer, or how to get compensation if you don't have insurance, the company DTP America has helped its clients receive $21 million in compensation. Here, you will definitely get answers to all your questions. The link is in the description. Geographical location plays an important role in the survival conditions of the homeless. In the northern states, winters can be harsh and you can't just survive outside. That's why the subways of Chicago or New York become temporary shelters for thousands of homeless people. Some occupy abandoned buildings left behind by their previous owners. This situation is especially acute in cities affected by economic decline. For example, in Detroit, entire neighborhoods are occupied by homeless people and criminal elements hiding from the law. In these areas, jobs and public utilities are often lacking. The lack of heating forces residents to warm themselves by open fires, which often leads to fires. After that, the homeless simply move to the next house that is relatively suitable for living. In the south, the situation looks different. The milder climate allows people to live outdoors year-round. All you need is a simple tent, and you have some semblance of a roof over your head for shelter. In California alone, there are more than 100,000 of these tent dwellers, which has led to the formation of entire tent camps. By coming together, people feel a greater sense of security. They form shared budgets, which can be used to improve living conditions or for emergency medical assistance. However, such camps are indeed very hard to ignore, unlike individuals hiding in the subway. Thanks to these camps, the homeless are able to draw attention to their problem, clearly demonstrating its scale. Most initiatives to help the homeless come from private individuals, religious organizations, and commercial charitable foundations. In recent years, several states have seen the emergence of small villages designed exclusively for the homeless. They have inspiring names such as Hope Village in Oregon or Eden Village in Washington. The dwellings in these villages are modest, but they are equipped with necessary amenities and provide a roof over one's head. To live there, residents must follow a few simple rules. Abstain from using drugs and alcohol, secure a job to pay for utilities, or work within the village in exchange for housing and daily meals. Although there are still few such villages, they are rarely filled to capacity. The reason is that people who have lived on the streets for several years gradually become accustomed to that way of life and often lose the ability to return to normal social living. In reality, Americans have mixed feelings about trailers, since for many segments of the population they are not a luxury, but a forced measure associated with a sense of hopelessness. People live in these mobile homes for years, sometimes even decades, crowding together as entire families. Essentially, they have two main options: living under a bridge in the city or living in a trailer park. There is no property tax in this case, since a trailer is considered a vehicle, not real estate. At the same time, trailer parks are not abandoned plots of land, and you have to pay rent for your spot. Sometimes the amounts are insignificant and the owners barely notice them. Much more is spent on regularly replacing gas cylinders and replenishing drinking water supplies. Cleaning the chemical toilet is also not cheap, but these expenses allow people to maintain at least some semblance of a normal life. Here, people are forced to get by any way they can, including dishonest methods. That's why it's not recommended for outsiders to walk around trailer parks. The risk of becoming a victim of theft or witnessing disturbances is quite high. It's important to emphasize that even though they pay rent, residents of such parks have no rights to the land they occupy. Landowners have the right to set any rules they wish, up to and including, for example, imposing a curfew, banning pets, and even regulating noise levels. As for the interior layout of a trailer, it includes a miniature kitchen, a bedroom, and a dining area, which is often combined with the kitchen. Sleeping areas are often located on a second level, which is primarily due to the need to yet full. Welcome to the world of astonishing archaeological discoveries, where myths come to life, the past reveals its dark secrets, and new surprises await at every turn. What could possibly connect a Cyclops skull in Kansas, ancient tablets in the Mu Desert, and the remains of a giant dinosaur in Argentina? Get ready for incredible stories that will turn your understanding of our world upside down and may even reveal the keys to our future. Stay with me. This journey promises to be full of mysteries and discoveries. Recently, on one of the internet forums, I came across a report about an unusual archaeological find made deep in the American Midwest. Farmers in Kansas, going about their daily work, discovered something incredible: a huge skull with a single eye in the forehead. This event became a real sensation and undoubtedly turned our understanding of the possible existence of mythical creatures upside down. Local scientists immediately arrived at the site of the discovery, and the results were astonishing. They believed that the skull found may belong to a cyclops, a creature we have known until now only from ancient Greek myths. This idea fascinates me, and I can't stop thinking about what other secrets our planet might be hiding. Moreover, the very idea that a mythical skull was discovered in North America raises many questions and hypotheses. If that's the case, then how could Cyclopes have ended up here? Time will tell how plausible this theory is, but I am quite certain that this discovery will be just the beginning of a series of new and exciting finds that undoubtedly await us ahead.
اتفضل بسكرم.
I recently read about an exciting discovery made by a group of archaeologists in the deserts of Utah. They found something that seemed to have come straight out of science fiction. In one of the caves, where they expected to find traces of ancient Native American cultures, they were met with a surprise: an Egyptian mummy in excellent condition. It was so unbelievable that my mind started feverishly tossing around guesses and assumptions. It's truly frightening to think about how the mummy ended up on a completely different continent. Maybe the connections between cultures were even deeper than we can possibly imagine. This discovery makes one speculate about the existence of ancient roots we never even suspected. The archaeologists who discovered this artifact were confronted with a flood of mysteries, the answers to which could change our perception of history. All the more so because such finds always raise more questions than answers. I wonder what discoveries await them next. Perhaps this is only the beginning of an exciting journey into the unexplored depths of the past. I'm also curious myself to follow the further developments and to see what secrets of the past this unusual find will ultimately reveal. Recently, I heard a truly fascinating and intriguing story from a group of dedicated researchers whose remarkable discoveries awe even the most skeptical. They were working in the remote Klondike fields in the Yukon, searching for gold nuggets, when they unexpectedly stumbled upon something that took them far back in time. These people dug several meters underground and came across something extraordinary. Their discovery was not just an artifact, but a baby woolly mammoth, perfectly preserved in the permafrost for about 30,000 years. Even the tiniest details were preserved, every fold of skin, every tuft of hair. With its eyes slightly closed, it seemed to gaze at us from a distant era, where time flowed in a completely different way. Discoveries like this give you goosebumps and make your heart skip a beat as you ponder the part of history hidden beneath our feet. What else lies concealed in the depths? What truths are waiting to be uncovered, and what new questions will they raise? This story about the mammoth is just one piece of a gigantic puzzle that we have only begun to assemble. One can't help but wonder what other ancient secrets are waiting for their moment to be discovered, and what clues to the past they might offer our own time. Delving into stories about recent discoveries on the African continent, I mentioned the strange craters found on Tanda Hill. Researchers have encountered astonishing phenomena that capture the imagination and provoke bewilderment. Local residents pass down legends by word of mouth about the supernatural origins of these craters. They whisper about ancient deities and unknown creatures hiding in the depths of the earth. Some of the people hired by archaeologists feel an inexplicable heaviness when they approach these mysterious formations, discussing possible causes of their appearance. Scientists put forward theories about natural phenomena or meteorite impacts. However, the precise shapes of these craters are alarming and raise many questions for researchers. Among the stories told by locals, there are often accounts of strange lights in the night sky and quiet sounds coming from underground. It would seem that such stories could be dismissed as mere fantasies, but their persistence is unsettling. It is possible that the archaeological expedition will lead to discoveries capable of overturning our understanding of the planet. Before us, perhaps, are unfolding the pages of a new, incredible knowledge, imbued with the power and mysteries of the Earth itself.
أنثيريوس UV Immune 400 Oil Control Fluid الجديد، الفلتر الأكثر حماية من أشعة الشمس الضارة.
You have heard about the astonishing discoveries made by a certain group of researchers in the heart of the Sahara. They stumbled upon unique cave paintings, presumably created by the mysterious Bakvezi people. These images are truly striking in their remarkable complexity and extraordinary detail, vividly depicting scenes and advanced technologies that do not fit at all with our current understanding of the skills and capabilities of ancient civilizations. It is often said that among the many artifacts found in these mysterious caves, there are strange, unusual tools and devices that force us to reconsider and question our understanding of that era. Drawings visually resemble principles of electricity, or even mechanisms similar to those that humanity only discovered much later. This discovery seems to overturn our usual views on the development of technology, raising a whole set of new questions. Why have we not known about such advancements until now? What else does the Sahara hide beneath its sands? These remarkable and groundbreaking findings inspire ongoing research that could potentially replace established theories about human history. Have you been in a car accident in America and don't know what to do next? Where should you turn for help? Where can you find a competent lawyer? How can you get compensation if you don't have insurance? The company DTP America has helped its clients receive $21 million in compensation. Here, you will definitely get answers to all your questions. The link is in the description. Recently, I came across some amazing stories of people whose discoveries bring ancient lands to life. One of them actually occurred in Montana. A group of archaeologists discovered the skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus, which, even after millions of years, still inspired fear and awe with its grandeur. But the real shock was not the mighty predator itself, but rather what was found in its jaws and stomach. The remains of its last victim, an ornithopod. Imagine, they were able to touch the very final moments of these ancient creatures, as if they had somehow glimpsed a dramatic and intense struggle for survival that took place so many millions of years ago. Everyone who heard about this extraordinary discovery probably felt a strange and powerful mix of awe and horror, vividly picturing the mighty forces of nature unfolding right before their eyes. Another story came from Egypt. A group of researchers managed to uncover a cache of mummies that had been hidden beneath the sand for decades. Their discovery revealed how ancient civilizations lived, suffered, and died. Findings like these remind me of how deep and mysterious our planet truly is. What else does the Earth conceal? What stories from the past is it ready to tell us so that we can better understand our own history and ourselves? I heard about an absolutely astonishing and unexpected discovery that took place in northern Alberta back in 2011. Workers who were drilling in that area at the time stumbled upon something truly remarkable and extraordinary. They found not just fossilized remains, but an incredibly well-preserved and intact sample of dinosaur skin. Imagine how detailed the imprints were. They could even make out the fine texture of the skin, which closely resembled that of modern-day reptiles. This discovery became a real sensation in the scientific community. Archaeologists and paleontologists who arrived at the site were absolutely thrilled. Everyone wanted to draw attention to this discovery. After all, it's not every day you get the chance to look so closely into the distant past of our planet. Interestingly, the fossil provided a new perspective on the lives of dinosaurs. This discovery became important for understanding their evolution and daily life. It still excites the minds of scientists, making them wonder how many more secrets are hidden in the depths of our planet. This story is like opening a window into the past, allowing us to better understand how rich and amazing our world is. I often hear incredible stories about researchers' discoveries, and here is one of them. Recently, a group of remains belonging to a young Gorgosaurus was discovered, but the main discovery turned out to be the contents of its stomach. Researchers, whom I am not acquainted with, studied the frozen food fragments that had remained there for millions of years. We usually tend to think that tyrannosaur diets consisted mainly of large, plant-eating herbivores, but this time, something truly astonishing and unexpected was found. Inside the dinosaur's digestive system, there were remains not only of small mammals, but also clear traces of fish, which seems to open a fascinating new window into the mysterious prehistoric world. This discovery sheds new light on the dietary habits of these giants, and on ancient ecosystems as a whole. Each such find brings us closer to understanding the mysteries of the past, immersed creatures. The whole process is full of mysteries and unexpected discoveries, and every new finding offers yet another chance to feel a connection with worlds that disappeared long ago. Just imagine what else might be hidden beneath layers of fossilized soil, waiting for its moment to be discovered. Recently, I came across a fascinating story about excavations in Pompeii. It was a story of a group of archaeologists who made an astonishing discovery. They found two bodies preserved beneath a layer of volcanic ash, untouched since the moment of the disaster. These remains, a man and a woman, may once have been family or close friends, united in their final moments in the face of inevitable danger. Hearing about this discovery, I felt an invisible thread connecting me to a past that ended so tragically. Imagining their final moment, I felt the depth of human emotions, from terror to desperate hope. Their story reminds me and how nature can change everything in an instant. Thinking about this, I realized that such discoveries open a new chapter in the study of ancient life, recreating human emotions and dramas hidden beneath the veil of centuries. Findings like these bring us back to reflections on our own mortality, and make us truly contemplate the